when this collaboration started, Monologue of a Muted Man. Patrick handed us a script, his play, and my reaction to it was so overwhelming. I thought piano comes in underneath or with the voice, or we don't need to hear that at all, and we interpret the dream, we interpret your words, your script, through movement and piano, and then the words go away completely.
When you come to Artifact, you're going to see something that you haven't seen before. It's different. That we're doing something different, and we're doing something so collaborative, and we're doing something where each of us is kind of growing and learning from each other, and it's a win-win.
All of a sudden, I'm speaking, the movement becomes much more, danced, right? But up until this point, it's been more fused with acting and body, and almost like more mind. I know at least 2 men in my life who are losing their hearing. And I know how they're physically and emotionally reacting to that loss. I want to bring this play to life because I've never seen anything in my life or read anything that addresses that very topic through theater. And Patrick's play does it in this eloquent, culturally based, almost dreamlike way.
You're actually
I've really enjoyed the idea of experiencing the world with no sound. As Francesca, I find myself out in my daily life imagining what it would be like to be in silence and wake up my senses to how expressive the world is, even though there is no sound.
It's more of a fusion of just real gestures and contemporary movement. And after reading this script by Patrick, the piano, first of all, as an instrument, I heard piano in it, that the piano can have so many voices.
It can accompany itself, it can be just a foundation, it can be a whole orchestra if it needed to be.
Right, exactly. I wanted to bring it to life with this wonderful group of people, which would be Patrick, the playwright, Russell, the composer. In the end, we got Robert Anthony Peters through Patrick's recommendation, who's just a wonderful actor, and Claire Hancock, who's dancing and acting her roles within the play. And then I ended up dancing the lead role as the man, which I was not intending on doing. I was just planning on choreographing and helping to produce. All of this could potentially be a composition of piano instead of you speaking. I just saw the piano coming in at just key moments that were just so poignant.
Having this really powerful story is such a strong foundation, and it almost makes my job easy at this point because there's so many rich characters to pull from. And
Russell is composing original music, which the titles for each piece of music we're actually pulling right from Patrick's script. And at the end of the day, there'll be this album of piano, solo piano, inspired by Monologue of a Muted Man.
It's been really amazing to see how we feed off each other in energies, and really, even though our disciplines are so wildly different between actor and narration and spoken word and dance and music, we still share this really common core.
Russell can watch a dancer and time his chords, his notes right with our bodies. He has a gift for that.
Did I envision this? I didn't know what to picture. I knew that it would have to have this movement, and part of it was inspired by dance. I mean, the character is a dancer, and I always thought sound and Venice and fluidity and motion. And I think that's one of the marvelous things about what's happening, is that movement is able to get underneath the language. Dance is just so physical, ephemeral, and just unspoken, that you won't feel it in the same way you would feel language. It just operates you on a different level, and And so the mixture of those two things, I think, is a marvelous conjunction.
Robert Anthony Peters is a local actor. He does film work on a national level. He's got some big credits behind his name. This is our first time ever working with Robert, and he's wonderful.
So I've never worked with a dance company before.
Expansive, whole. I watch the Venetian. She is more expressive, more elegant, more varied in her movements. The way her hands refract the canal. The contours of the palazzi reflected in her gestures, arches upon arches, raked, skewed, rampant, and stuttered, rendered in the way she is shaping, caressing space.
Been fascinating to watch their process because it's primarily movement focused, and how they've made allowances to incorporate in this live voiceover, creating this role along with a co-collaboration with Ashley, playing physically the character of whose voice I embody. And so we have to really be in tune with each other.
Robert is, you know, the utmost professional to be working with, just like Russell and just like Patrick. He has a masculinity, I think, that really counterbalances the fact that I'm a woman dancing the male role, which is essential. Claire Hancock is a woman of many talents. I mean, she is a principal level dancer. She's a founder of Artifact Dance Project with myself. We've been doing this for a decade.
So the characters that I get to jump in and out of are between 4 different characters. One is Francesca, the man's real love interest, although they never meet. The other is her son, Zani. The next one is a gondolier named Fabrizio. And then finally I get to play a Spaniard woman who's very forward and very flirtatious. It's been a real fun mix of jumping in and out of those. And some of those characters switch from one to the other in a very stark manner. And so the audience will get to see those hard switches right before their very eyes, which I think will be very fun.
She has a beautiful voice and a beautiful presence on stage and a real depth of soul that she brings to all of her work, whether if it's dance or acting. So Claire is able to act, you know, all these different roles that she's switching back and forth. I like tackling one role and giving it, you know, 150%. I'm dancing and choreographing, and I'm just really loving this. The lights would come up and we cover the floor in clothes. The entire performance space inside the audience is covered in clothing.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
So the clothing is going to transform with her characters in this scenario, and so if you could, as we're talking, I think that's really important to visualize. So Buffalo Exchange is based here in Tucson, and they are donating bags and bags of clothing that we're going to cover the floor in. Monologue of a Muted Man is taking place in the round as a purposeful and meaningful decision, because if you think about losing your hearing, you don't lose your hearing facing forward. Breaking that fifth wall sometimes it gives the public more access to art. By putting us on the same ground and by being closer to each other. Claire and I, who are the dancers, are going to use the clothing as symbols, so we pick up the clothing, now the clothing's a set piece. Essentially, you're getting dance, music, theater, and set design. An art installation. No one's ever going to see anything quite like this.